Welcome to Lambs to Lions. You're listening to the weekly podcast with Pastor Matt Funk.
Awesome. Okay, guys, we're gonna have some fun. Well, we're gonna teach on childlike faith today, because it's one of those things that's easy to kind of fade away a little bit or feel distant from as we get older and as we experience more things in life. Things we experience aren't always the most positive things, and it can be easy to latch on to that in our minds versus letting it go and letting God. So we're going to look at this through a perspective of young David. So David and Goliath is obviously a very popular story in the Bible, but this is kind of a cool angle to look at it from a young man who's taking care of his sheep to then taking on about a 9-foot tall dude in the battlefield. So I think that's pretty cool. So what we're going to do is read 1 Samuel 17, 12 to 51. All right. Well, I'll start with faith, childlike faith. We need to keep faith like young David. That dude was something else. If you think of it, like if you're just going to picture it, Aiden's age, Aiden is David. Yeah, he's going out there slaying giants. It's awesome, right? As men, we tend to get really serious about life and all the situations going on around us. And we have a special way of letting the small things become the big things, and the big things the small things. And for those of you who are fathers, it's easy for us. Like, we'll use an example of hanging a picture. It's easy to go hang a picture, right? Well, sort of. It can be a challenge, but it's in theory, hanging a picture is really easy, right? Yeah. But it can also be a challenge to let your little boy or your little girl help, because you're in a mindset of, I don't have all the time in the world. I just want to get it done. Then it's over with, right? So that is something that I personally have had to correct myself on. And when we don't want to do it twice, it can be kind of a heart check. So we need to take a breath and remember that we were their age once, right? Like, even my little guy, he's just over 2, and he just wants to do everything that I do. And honestly, not all of us had fathers like that. I was fortunate enough to have a father that taught me how to fix things when they're broken and how to work and all those things. And it's cool if you're in the position of somebody's life that you get to share that with them. And it's really important. And not long ago, Wilder, he wanted to help Dad hang a picture, and he's waiting there with this little plastic hammer, and he's like, okay, let's go. He's just vibrating, just wants to help. And I'm in the mindset of, I just want to get it done and get it over with. And then I had to catch myself and correct myself and pause and just think about it. I'm like, listen, I'm this little dude's hero. All he wants to do is be like that. That's all he wants to do. So I stopped for a minute. I picked him up, and then he took the little plastic hammer. I actually got the nail in the wall. It was pretty impressive. So he helped me hang a picture, and it was a cool moment for both of us. But I'm saying that because our kids have childlike faith in their fathers and childlike faith in their Father in heaven. And I want to be very clear that it's not the terminology childlike faith it's not a weak faith. It's quite unshakable. And it's because they haven't been tainted by the world and all the negative stuff that us as men have experienced. That's one way to look at it. And for me, in the last 4 years or so, I just wanted to share with you guys, just so you're not, if you're going through stuff, we all go through stuff. Last 4 years, I've experienced depression, anger, hatred internally and towards me. I've experienced loss, miscarriages, bankruptcy. I've seen demons flee from people, and I've been in vehicle accidents, seen accidents. I've seen my wife suffer emotionally and physically. And I actually almost lost her in her first month of marriage because a doctor decided to prescribe her medicine way too quick and not actually diagnose her correctly. And but it's one of those things we've all had those experiences of in some shape or another, right? And it's easy to cling to them mentally and not let go of them. And I'm saying this so you guys don't need to feel alone when you're going through the battle in the week. And there was a point that I started to get bitter and not better. And I was starting to get really uptight about everything. And I couldn't, like, I was like a short fuse. I couldn't take anything. It was like even taking out the trash was this massive accomplishment or task to do. And I was like getting to a point in the mornings where it was so tight in my chest that I just didn't really want to get out of bed. It was so intense. My wife actually called me out on it, and she was a lot more loving than this, but she pretty much told me straight up I was being uptight and not that much fun to be around. And not that she didn't want to be around me, it was just that's the spot I was in. And I was so in my head, and I was so focused on all the wrong things, and my childlike faith seemed to get really distant from me. And it's because my focus shifted. I was looking more on my incapabilities versus God's ability. And if we look at young David, this dude had some crazy challenges because he fought lions and bears. In one version, one translation, it says he used a club, right? And he hunted those things down. Like, you mess with my sheep, it's not going to go well for you. I was talking with Coach, I was talking with Dell, and he was like, "Can you imagine being the lion, bringing it back to the pride, and like, hey man, whose sheep was that?" It's like, "Oh, it's David's." "Oh, dude, we gotta run." And I'm like, don't mess with David's sheep. Yeah. And he had to fight lions and bears and all that to save his sheep. He stayed back even when everybody went forward. His brothers looked down on him, and yet his focus wasn't on that. His focus was on the blessings of God and how great he is. So what I did is I shifted my focus and I dug into how God showed up every time in each of those situations. From giving me words to say to making us financially stable to giving us two massive, strong boys and another kid on the way, to giving us an incredible living situation. We've had vehicles handed to us, Harleys handed over to us. It was just crazy, refreshing of my mind and a very full and peace-filled heart. Because when you chase after the calling that God has on you, you will be blessed. It's just that's a fact, and I can speak that from experience. And I don't get me wrong on that. There's still a struggle. You know, there's still something there that wants to rear up its head. It's us it's us in prayer and fighting in that spiritual battle to put that at bay. And because all of us have a past and all those things, that term forgive and forget, I really don't believe that, because if you forget all the things that you went through, how are you supposed to grow? Right? It's just not letting it own you. So I want to give you guys just a few, you'll see it in your blanks there. This is like 5 points that I found that have really helped overcome that and help keep that childlike faith. So the first one is to obviously wake up in the Word. Even if it's the verse of the day, little is much when God is in it. You see what God can do with that verse. Next, talk to God. Spend some time in prayer. Again, make attainable goals. Even if it's a minute with God is better than no time at all. List the things you're thankful for. So I would do typically 10 things I'm thankful for in the morning, whether it be my family, my home, whatever happened the day before that I was grateful for, just those things that are positive so that you can set your mind correctly at the beginning of the day instead of, woe is me, the first thing in the morning, I got to go to work or I get to go to work. Changing that terminology. And the next one, speak 10 I am statements over yourself. So if you're speaking over yourself, man, I'm feeling lazy today, or I'm not strong, or man, I'm tired. I don't want to get up right now. All those things, speaking the opposite of it, or I'm not a good father, or it's those things that you keep telling yourself that, eventually it's going to happen if you're speaking it, right? So I'd rather speak positively, speak life over it, so that comes to reality. Last one is to put on the full armor. That is one that I would say is a very necessary thing to do, to put that over yourself and over your family before you leave the house. Because when you go into, many of you are in trades, many of you you're really any workplace, as soon as you step out the door, you're walking into a battle zone. So I'd rather be armored up instead of go. It's like being a cop and going out to a scene without a vest on, which wouldn't be smart. So these are some really basic steps to help set yourself up for success and keep your childlike faith alive and strong. And a really quick way to do a heart check on that is, if even today you could do it. When somebody walks up to you and asks how's your week? How you doing? First thing comes to your mind and out of your mouth is negative. That's something that we might need to just tweak a little bit and okay, what was the best part of my week? And I started to work on that terminology too, instead of walking up to people and be like, hey man, how you doing? Because honestly, a lot of people coming in our doors, they're not doing good, and that's why they're here, because they need family, they need refreshment, they need Jesus, right? So it's better, I would say it's almost better to ask, hey man, what was the best part of your week? Set the tone. All of a sudden there's a positivity coming through. In verses 32 and 33, it says, don't worry about the Philistine, David told Saul. I'll go fight him. Don't be ridiculous, Saul replied. There's no way you can fight this Philistine and possibly win. You're only a boy, and he's been a man of war since his youth. Does that not sound similar to the enemy when he comes at us? You're so, when he's trying to attack us, man, you're so small, you're so wimpy. Man, did you even go to the gym this week? Come on, right? Or it's like there's no way you're gonna win that spiritual battle. There's no way you're gonna get your marriage healthy, or there's no way you're gonna mend that relationship in your family, or how do you think you're gonna get that guy to church? Come on, why are you even trying? Sometimes we need to bite our pride a little bit, because as guys, we want to. It's like us to want to be the hero. We want to go. We want to help, and it's not a negative place to be. We just want to be that person that can offer and be useful and help. And just to be clear, everybody in this room is useful and helpful. You guys are amazing. But sometimes we need to bite our pride and say, you know what? Maybe I can't, but God can. Maybe I won't, but God will. Maybe I'm not strong enough, but God within me is. Verse 45 to 46, it says, David replied to the Philistine, you come to me with sword, spear, and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of heaven's armies, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. Today the Lord will conquer you, and I will kill and cut off your head, and then I will give the dead bodies of your men to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. It'll be on TikTok.
It'll be on TikTok.
That's awesome.
And Instagram.
Yeah.
Everybody would know.
Everybody will know. Just
man,
hold the head.
That's freaking awesome. I just love the graphics.
I know it's an intense. I love that. I thought it was wild that it says that he walked up to him, took his sword, and cut his head off and killed him.
Killed him first before he cut him off.
He wasn't even dead from the stone. He was just stunned. Yeah. And like he had boldness to walk onto their side, their territory, because there would have been a ton of soldiers around, and he still walked up and did that. It's incredible.
The neat takeaway from that is that stone brought Goliath down to David's size, where he could.
That's a cool way to think about it. Yeah, that's cool.
There's no way he could reach him.
They couldn't reach him. Yeah,
the stone brought him.
He'd just
down
be cutting his toes. Well, you see the power of tongue holds life and death. Right? We know that. You speak failure. Don't be surprised when you fail. You speak life. Watch what God can do. The man who says I can and the man who says I can't are both right. I want to challenge you guys this week and catch yourself. And if you're speaking something negative, like, okay, tell me something you guys say about yourself. Give me an example that might be negative. Who's brave? Tell me something.
Didn't go to the gym today.
Didn't go to the gym today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just getting that in your head of, is it get you in a negative mind space kind of thing?
It can, yeah.
Yeah. Versus how would you counter that?
Could look at the other ways about physical activity that day.
Totally. And your job's labor intensive.
Go for a walk.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity to go with the family, take the dog for a walk. There's your activity for the day.
Go for a walk with the dog.
Sit there and be like, beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Or find a way to at least improve the situation at least a little bit.
No, that's good. Yeah. I like that. That's good. And I think too, in our daily walk versus so this week I want to challenge you guys, flip that flow, flip that story, flip it on yourself and see what that does by the end of the week. See how that changes your mentality. Because I know for me personally, I've that was always a struggle, was how I speak about myself, or even because when you're saying I am, I am not. Well, he's the great I am. So I don't want to speak negatively about God, and he's within you. So if you're speaking negatively about I am, you got to remember who you're speaking about, and then look at actually what the Bible says about you, right? So I caught myself the other day with Wilder. He wanted me to climb a tree with him, and I was, it was one of those moments of like, oh, dude, I can't climb, and I caught myself. It's like, oh, I don't want to tell my son I can't do stuff. Like I don't want to, I don't want to have him to have that mentality. So I caught myself, and I was talking to him. I was like, listen, dude. That's something I want to work up to. Can you show me how you do it? Can you show me how it's, and reality is it's me lifting him up the tree, right? And for me, it's hugging a tree, and to him, I'm climbing it, but at least Dad tried, versus saying I can't. So I want to raise my boys with that mentality of, man, I got to at least try. Don't tell me you can't until you've tried. Yeah, give it a shot. Give it a go. See what happens. 48-50 says, as Goliath moved closer to attack, David quickly ran out to meet him, reaching into a shepherd's bag and taking out a stone. He hurled it with his sling and hit the Philistine in the forehead. The stone sank in, and Goliath stumbled and fell face down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with only a sling and a stone, and he had no sword. Then David ran over and pulled Goliath's sword from his sheath. David used it to kill him and cut off his head. Cut off his head with his own sword. So this is a bold dude. So Aiden, you're a bold dude. He didn't even process the thought of defeat. Oh, it didn't say anything about that. But even when he died, he didn't even process the thought of defeat, because even if David were to have died, he died serving the Lord and would spend eternity with God. There was no losing that situation. He only processed the fact that he would fight and win this battle in the Lord's name. He's seen God move in the little things because he was working for it, and because he was looking for it, and he was grateful for it. How often do you find yourself praying God does something for you? Maybe like a parking stall, or a headache to go away, or some pains to go away, something of that nature. And then it happens, and then you totally forget that you prayed about it, and you kind of just chalk it up to good timing. When it's not good timing, it's God timing, right? No such thing as a coincidence. We are to be the head of our households. You guys know that. And if we have childlike faith, it's going to trickle into our families and become the norm. And if we are stressed and won't give our thoughts and struggles up to God, that will also trickle into our families and become the norm. They know when we're under attack. They know when we're stressed. They can read our body languages. We can't, we think we can hide it, but reality is, it comes out pretty quick.
Energy walks.
Yeah, exactly.
The minute we go quiet.
Yeah, the minute we go quiet, stop talking, something's up.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So for me personally, I've lived long periods of time in the past in stress and depression and anger. So I know what that's like. But then when Jesus got my heart and I started to live in happiness and joy, love, peace, my body and mind got stronger, and my faith, it increased. And when I set my sight on what is good and what is God, and not worrying about tomorrow, because tomorrow has enough worries of its own, right? And implement this, it has had me at my healthiest and my strongest, most childlike faith that I've had yet. Let's get excited to see what God is going to do. And when battles come, because battles will come, let go and let God. Dig into the word and don't let the enemy get the best of your day that he has blessed you with. Keep your childlike faith. So our takeaway today is let go and let God. So gentlemen, we'll just go into prayer here. I just want to make sure that everybody in this room has an opportunity to have that relationship with God and that refreshment and renewing of mind. So if you could just bow your heads with me in prayer. Lord, I just thank you so much for this day. Lord, I admit that I have sinned, and I believe that you died on the cross 3 days later. Lord, and you rose 3 days later, and I choose to follow you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you for tuning in today, and thank you for continuing to partner with us and for giving so generously to this ministry. If you would like to find out more about how you can partner with us, visit our website at www.wherepeoplematter.church and click the giving link. And don't forget to subscribe and share this with your friends. See you next time.